They're big, strapping guys with tears rolling down their cheeks, and I understand how they feel because Cheyenne was their hero, and now they're finally getting to meet him in person. He stood nearly 2 meters tall, muscles like sculpted stone, a deep, warm voice, and eyes as cold as steel. Clint Walker was the embodiment of American masculinity in the 1950s and 60s. As the cowboy Cheyenne Bodie in the hit series Cheyenne, he became the perfect image of a Western hero, upright, powerful, and flawless. Everyone believed his life was as simple and pure as the character he played, but the truth was far from that. In an exclusive interview with People, his only daughter, 75-year-old Valerie Walker, revealed details that left Hollywood stunned. The 1971 snow accident was no accident at all. Warner Brothers had once forced him to expose his body for profit, and his 3 marriages fell apart because of a secret emotional bond with a famous male colleague. Today, the files Hollywood tried to bury are reopened to answer one haunting question. Why did Clint Walker's daughter wait until now to tell the truth? That accident on Mammoth Mountain wasn't random. Someone truly wanted my father gone. In May 1971, snow blanketed Mammoth Mountain in Mono County, California, where Clint Walker, the man who had captivated America in Cheyenne, collapsed in a shocking accident that stopped his heart. More than 50 years later, his daughter Valerie told People, it wasn't an accident. It was staged. According to the initial report from the Mono County Sheriff's Department on May 12, 1971, Walker went to the Mammoth Mountain Ski Resort with director George Sherman, lighting technician Rick Duca, and 2 former Warner Brothers crew members for a weekend trip. Instead of the main slope, they entered a restricted maintenance route closed due to snow slides, an area only staff members were allowed to enter, and Walker had no entry pass. Around 2:20 p.m., the report stated he slipped, fell face first, and was pierced through the chest by a 1.4-meter metal rod. The California Ski Patrol reported that the area had no fencing and no fixed steel equipment, yet somehow a technical pole appeared exactly where he fell. At Bishop Memorial Hospital, Dr. Gary Sloan declared him deceased at 3:07 p.m., his body covered with a white sheet and moved to cold storage. 10 minutes later, nurse Linda Martinez noticed a faint heartbeat, only 10 beats per minute, and the medical team began emergency resuscitation. 4 hours later, Clint Walker came back to life, prompting headlines that called it a miracle, but troubling questions followed. A rescue worker later said he had worked there 10 years and never seen a metal stake like that. That morning the snow was flat, with no footprints or materials. Yet 2 weeks later the investigation was suspended and all files were sealed with the statement that there was no evidence of foul play. Journalist Lance O'Donnell of Variety published a shocking article questioning whether the accident was coincidence or retaliation after Walker had won a lawsuit against Warner Brothers, but the piece was removed within 48 hours. Suspicion deepened when Warner Brothers released a press statement just 24 hours after the accident declaring Walker out of danger and soon returning to work, despite having no authorization to access medical records. Internal resort guest lists revealed the presence of a Warner Brothers television executive whom Walker had accused of exploitation. Years later, reports suggested the metal rod carried unidentified fingerprints, one partially matching a Warner production assistant. Though police refused to comment, public belief hardened that someone had set a trap. Walker never spoke of the accident again, but before it happened he had received an anonymous letter warning him not to go against Warner Brothers. After his hospitalization, the letter disappeared, and Valerie later said the accident was not the end but the beginning of a confrontation between one man and a powerful empire. If my father truly had feelings for people of the same gender, so what? He's human. In 1958, when America barely acknowledged same-gender love, Hollywood already whispered rumors, and the name murmured backstage wasn't Rock Hudson or Tab Hunter, but Clint Walker. Confidential magazines hinted at secrets, mentioning a mysterious muscular man seen frequently at his side. Other publications suggested a close bond with a Warner Brothers assistant director during film productions, noting their constant companionship and sudden disappearances. As the rumors spread, studios quietly worked to suppress them while staging public romances to reinforce Walker's masculine image. He was photographed with actresses, pushed into public appearances, and used as a symbol of perfection, but that only fueled suspicion. Walker stayed silent, refusing to explain his private life, believing dignity mattered more than gossip. According to his daughter, he was hurt but never angry, wishing only to be himself in a world obsessed with fantasy. His quiet nature, lack of excess, and refusal to play Hollywood's game made him seem suspicious in an industry that thrived on noise. By the early 1970s, directors hesitated to hire him, studios pulled back, and Clint Walker faded from the spotlight while rumors lingered. What made him remarkable wasn't just his physique or fame, but his refusal to surrender dignity in an industry that demanded submission. When he fell again late in life, many believed the cold wind from 1971 had never truly stopped. In the mid-1950s, America was captivated by the Western hero, and Cheyenne became a national phenomenon, drawing millions of viewers weekly. Walker's contract, however, gave Warner Brothers total control over his image, name, and likeness, treating him like property. He worked brutal hours while the studio earned millions, yet he was denied profits, benefits, and respect. When he finally demanded renegotiation, he was suspended, erased from promotions, and replaced, only to be reinstated after public outrage. Though he won better terms, he paid with isolation, whispers, and retaliation that followed him for decades. Hollywood turned him into merchandise, marketing his physique instead of honoring him as an artist. Internal memos focused on holding shots on his body, inserting river scenes and shirtless moments to attract female viewers. Walker objected, insisting he was an actor, not a poster, but pressure only increased. The strategy worked commercially, yet humiliated him personally. Faith groups protested, tabloids attacked, and when Walker spoke about wanting to be remembered for more than muscles, the studio labeled him difficult. Gradually, interviews vanished, invitations stopped, and his career dimmed. The conflict was never just about contracts, but dignity. His resistance slowed his career, fractured his personal life, and marked him as one of the first to push back against Hollywood's body-centric culture. Every one of my father's marriages ended because Hollywood made it impossible for him to love anyone. His first marriage to Vera Garver began long before fame, rooted in simplicity and quiet affection, but cracked under the weight of publicity and rumors, ending after 20 years. His second marriage to Giselle Hennessy brought brief peace, yet mystery and sorrow surrounded her death, changing him forever. His final marriage to Susan Cavallari was calm and private, offering companionship until the end, though the past never fully released him.